Saint Padre Pio. Just saying his name might make you think of something holy, something mysterious, or something powerful. You see, Padre Pio wasn't just any saint. He was a man who had the incredible gift of visions and dreams that allowed him to see into the future. And right before he passed away, he predicted 3 major events that were about to change the lives of 3 completely different people. But here's the thing. Can you guess what those predictions were? Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. Before we get into these jaw-dropping prophecies, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you're going to want to hear these stories. And stay tuned for more incredible content we've got coming your way. Now, let's rewind the clock a bit to understand the context behind these mind-blowing prophecies. Born Francesco Forgione on May 25, 1887, in Pietrelcina, Italy, Padre Pio had an upbringing that set the stage for his remarkable destiny. From the moment he was a little boy, his family instilled a deep sense of faith in him. His parents, devout Catholics, made sure that Francesco and his siblings were at Mass every day, praying together, especially the Rosary. In fact, Francesco was so attached to the Rosary, he'd carry it around with him everywhere he went. It was more than just a prayer, it was a lifeline. Fun fact, Padre Pio was so adamant about the power of the Rosary, he'd often tell people, you must pray it daily. It's the key to keeping your soul strong. Think about that. Every day, this simple prayer was strengthening his faith, and as it turns out, his ability to see the future. But let's not forget his mother. She played a huge role in shaping him. She was the one who nurtured him, who guided him in his early years. It was no surprise then that by the age of 5, Francesco made the decision to dedicate his life to God. That's a pretty big commitment for a kid, right? By 15, he had joined the Capuchin friars and began working his way toward becoming a priest. When he was finally ordained, he was sent to the town of San Giovanni Rotondo. And that's where the world would come to know him as Padre Pio, this name, synonymous with unwavering faith, compassion, and yes, those incredible prophecies. But here's where it gets fascinating. Not only was he known for his piety, but Padre Pio was also gifted with the stigmata, the holy wounds that appeared on his body, marking him as one who lived a life completely devoted to Christ. These wounds weren't just symbols, they were powerful signs of his deep spiritual connection. After his passing, Padre Pio was canonized, and today, he is a saint, revered by millions. But before all that, he made predictions, 3 prophecies that were as mysterious as they were accurate. So, let's get into these. The first prophecy is a real kicker. Picture this, San Giovanni Rotondo, a bustling place where people came to connect with their faith. During one of the Franciscan youth congresses held there, a woman traveled all the way from Trieste. She had heard countless stories of Padre Pio's amazing powers, and she was eager to meet him. This lady, though, was hesitant about confessing her sins. You see, she didn't like the idea of other people hearing her confessions. It made her uncomfortable. But when she met Padre Pio, she was taken aback by his presence. Without even knowing her story, Padre Pio turned to her and said, "Tell this woman that she has only 1 month to live." Now, imagine hearing that. It wasn't just a random statement, it was a prophecy. Padre Pio, with his divine gift, knew this woman's time was running out. He told her, "You need to pray the Rosary every day and read the lives of the saints. That's how you'll save your soul." But here's the twist. He didn't just predict her physical death. He was more concerned about her soul. It was a life-saving message, one that this woman desperately needed. A month later, the woman's husband came to San Giovanni Rotondo. He thanked Padre Pio for his timely intervention. Why? Because exactly 1 month after Padre Pio's prophecy, his wife passed away. But thanks to his warning, her soul was ready. Isn't that amazing? But wait, we're just getting started, my friends. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with more incredible tales like this one. The second prophecy involves a young woman named Teresa, who was at a crossroads in life. She couldn't decide whether to get married and start a family or follow in her brother's footsteps and dedicate her life to God. It was a tough decision, and she didn't know what to do. So what did she do? She sought guidance from Padre Pio. When she told him about her dilemma, Padre Pio looked at her with a knowing expression. He said, "Stay with your brother. He will need your help." Now, Teresa was hesitant. She wasn't even sure if her brother would become a priest. But Padre Pio was certain. He knew the divine path that lay ahead for both of them. 6 years later, Her brother was ordained a priest. And guess what? Teresa followed her calling too, joining the clergy and working alongside him. The two of them went on to do incredible things for the church. Padre Pio saw the future with perfect clarity. He knew how their lives would unfold, and he guided them toward fulfilling their divine purpose. Okay, now here's where things get really wild. Let's talk about Luciano, a businessman who had a chance encounter with Padre Pio. Luciano had been to San Giovanni Rotondo on a business trip and was about to leave. Before he headed out, he asked Padre Pio for his blessing. But Padre Pio's response was, well, let's just say it wasn't what Luciano expected. Padre Pio looked at him seriously and said, "Travel slowly, my son." Luciano chuckled at first. "Well, father, I'm not in any rush," he said. But Padre Pio's expression didn't change. His warning was clear. "Travel slowly, my son." Luciano, feeling a bit uneasy, decided to take it to heart and started his journey back, driving at a moderate pace. He stopped for a meal in the town of Ancona. But as he resumed his drive, disaster almost struck. Out of nowhere, a child darted into the road in front of him. Luciano swerved, but he just managed to avoid hitting the child. If he had been driving any faster, the outcome could have been tragic. At that moment, Luciano realized the gravity of Padre Pio's warning. It wasn't about him. It was about saving the child's life. How crazy is that? Padre Pio, through his divine insight, had seen what would happen and warned him ahead of time. Thanks to Padre Pio's prophecy, Luciano avoided disaster, and an innocent life was spared. Truly, this is a testament to how deeply connected Padre Pio was with the divine. Padre Pio wasn't just a holy man. He was a man who truly understood the deeper workings of the world, someone whose faith and spiritual connection allowed him to predict the future. Whether through his direct intervention or divine foresight, Padre Pio saved countless lives, both physically and spiritually. And even though he's no longer with us, his influence lives on. We can still turn to him for guidance, and we know that his prayers and intercession are just as powerful today. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a moment of these amazing tales. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes, the most incredible stories are the ones that are meant to touch your soul.